is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Fat Nass Nerd Run-Throughs, and today we are doing a top 10 for games of 2012. 6 years ago, oh god. That's so old. Especially for like a lot of these games that like this like industry just keeps growing. It's like hot for like a week and then it's like, fuck it. Exactly. Like Rising Sun's amazing. Who cares about that game anymore? We got all these games on Kickstarter to rave about that aren't going to be out for 3 years.
And 2012 was kind of when Kickstarter was going, but I don't think it was like as full on as it is now.
As like where pretty much that's where you're going to buy your games.
Right.
Like it's not Kickstarter is the only place to get games now. Anyway, did you have an honorable mention?
Yes. Because
I do. So let's go ahead and get started. So my honorable mention for games of 2012, and I really hope all these years are right because I got them off of Board Game Geek. Yeah, so it's like sometimes their years aren't.
Sometimes if it's a reprint, it tricks it. So
right.
To make sure it's not a.
Right. Anyway, so the honorable mention is Epic Spell Wars, Duel of the Battle Wizards. That was obviously the first one because they've actually come out with 2 expansions since then. And they're coming out with a 3rd one.
I don't have the newest.
I have the newest, but it's like I haven't even played it.
Yeah.
It's like I just put all the cards together and it's like, okay. Anyway, Epic Spell Wars, if you don't know, has been actually on quite a few of my lists before. And this is just one of those games that is just always super fun to play. It's weird because to like keep talking about the game over and over and over because it's like, alright, I've said it before, but anyway, Epic Spell Wars is just super cool. Because what you're doing is you're a wizard trying to combine a set of spells, so 1 level or 2 level or 3 level that just do these radically weird things trying to kill each other. Ultimately the game is super easy and extremely cutthroat because once you're dead, but then this game did something different where you get dead wizard cards which power you up for the next round. Basically, 2012 was a pretty good year. It just was my honorable mention because I like all these other games better. These games get played more than Epic Spell Wars does. But yeah, that's my number 11.
Alright, my 11 is Lords of Waterdeep.
Oh, that did come out. Did that really come out that year? It wouldn't have made the list.
Lords of Waterdeep was my, it was one of the games I used with my family. To show them what worker placement was, that ended up, that's one of their favorite things now is worker placement.
Really?
So that was the first one I tried because they don't like Dungeons and Dragons, but as so many people have said about this game, it doesn't matter, it's Dungeons and Dragons really. I mean,
right.
You're putting stuff, you're getting colored cubes, you're doing, and paying the cubes to complete quests and stuff. You can try to make it more thematic by putting the little D&D-ples.
Oh, is that what they call it?
Yeah, they look like the little warriors and clerics and all that stuff.
It helps.
It does. Yeah, it does. And I will say, though, that if they hadn't come out with the Scoundrels of Skullport expansion, then it wouldn't be on this list.
Gotcha.
It just really got stale really fast.
Yeah.
But when they put that expansion out, it's a fun game again. I still play it now, and it's a good one. Yeah,
I know Kat liked it whenever we played it, and then I thought it was okay. It definitely is a good gateway worker placement game. Like if someone's like very new and they're like, I want to try it, it's like, yeah, play that one.
Right.
Because might as well get used to the lack of theme in worker placement games. Alrighty. So now on to the actual list of games that matter. My number 10 is a game that will not be on your list. Is Mice and Mystics. Is it on your list? It's your number 1, isn't it?
It might be on the worst.
It might be. Anyway, Mice and Mystics is a game by Plaid Hat Games where it's like a storytelling game. They just released another one called Stuffed Fables. Haven't played that yet, but it's kind of like the same idea. Just taking cute, adorable animals and making a story out of it. It's definitely a really good kids game, I think, because it's a story book pretty much. But the story is you were humans that got turned into mice, and then now you're trying to save your king or defeat the evil queen. You're pretty much standard fairy tale story. But this one's really cool. I think it works really well whenever it comes to like actual game mechanics. Like it's your regular Ameritrash game where, it's adorable because everything is scaled to mice. So your enemies are cockroaches or rats and like later on you can like there's a cat that can come and attack you and you have to deal with that. And like the map and board are scaled. Like there's a kitchen where you can run up a broomstick handle. And it just works really well. The leveling system is really cool because like you collect cheese, which allows you to level up, or you spend the cheese to be able to do abilities that you get. It works really well, and I finally just got the third expansion. It came into print out of nowhere.
Was that the Glorm one?
No, Heart of Glorm was the second one. I had that one already, and then the Downwood Tales was the big box one. It's the third one that was out of print forever. And I heard they weren't coming back, but I think it's almost weird because I don't know if you heard Fun Again is going out of business. I'm wondering if like an influx of all their stuff got distributed out to try and sell because it's like it was just there, and I'm like, all right, cool.
Flat Hat's distribution's been weird ever since Asmodee.
Has that been affecting it?
I think it'll eventually get going again.
Gotcha.
It's just been kind of weird.
Gotcha. So that's my number 10, Mice and Mystics.
My number 10 is the first crossover.
Epic Spell Wars.
Yep.
So.
It's Epic Spell Wars, and I really don't have much more to say about it. I mean, it's a wonderful game with tons of replayability.
So many crossover we have.
You can just, it's fun just screwing people over.
Yeah, I mean.
And it's randomized too. Like some of it when you play it, I mean, it goes, some of the attacks go to whoever has the lowest amount of points.
Right,
and that
right.
game you may be wanting to try to get this one,
but then you're just like,
may drop down to the lowest.
Right. You could like try and target people. I have never once done that.
You just
I'm just like, oh, this picture looks cool, or these sound awesome. And here's the thing that's really annoying about that game though. I don't know if you ever have done this, but technically the rules say you have to say it in like a wizard voice. And like it's like, oh well, let's do that. That sounds fun. 2 seconds, and you're like, okay, let's stop. This is super annoying.
I tried to get my family to play like that,
and they didn't.
Very well.
I think we did it for the run through, but because I think it's like the rules say if you mess up your spell, then like the opponents get to like remove a card.
Oh really?
So like because you messed up the spell, so it didn't go off right. But it's fun. Like the expansions added like creatures that you can now have, and I don't know what the third one added. But wow, all right, already got one crossover.
Yep.
My number 9 is a game I don't know if you have played. It was actually my first run through ever on this channel, and I'm aiming to actually redo it all. But it's Legends of Andor.
Haven't played it yet.
You haven't played it? No. So Legends of Andor now has actually grown, obviously, since 2012. They have 2 big box stories. It's actually a part series, and this one does something really cool. It's not really a I mean, it's not a dungeon crawl. It's more of a puzzle, because what you're just one of these fantasy heroes, a wizard or a ranger, stuff like that, defending the kingdom of Andor. And all these creatures move on kind of like a numbered grid. Each scenario they start on, this dog starts on 13 or whatever. And they all have arrows that, in the map they point to different areas, but they all eventually will lead towards the castle.
Right.
And so what'll happen is that every time, if you don't kill them, they move, and if like one is in front of another one, it'll hopscotch. And if they ever go into the castle, you can only have, like, depending on the number of players, so many enemies enter before you lose. And it's really interesting because it's based off of a deck on how the story goes. So it's not like, so the first game is actually really cool. It's the tutorial, so you actually play while learning. It's not a lot of games do. It's just like, here's your 50-page rule book, learn the game. So that one's really neat. But it's interesting because you don't want to go out into the land and just kill all of them, because you can't. Mm-hmm. So by the time you're like, oh crap, they all ran and we lost. But it's really neat, and it's one of those games that the artwork's beautiful, and I gotta always give props to this because they're not miniatures, they're standees, mm-hmm. and on the front is the picture of the guy, but on the back is the back of him. So it's aesthetically pleasing, because I've never seen another game do that. It's just always the same picture on both sides. But what's his name? I want to say Manzel, I think, is the artist. He just did something different, and it's awesome. Like I really like it. Now I need to obviously continue into second and third. I'm probably going to do it as a series for the channel because it's an easy enough game to learn, but it's also challenging and fun. So number 9, Legends of Andor.
My number 9 is one that everybody probably should know what this game is.
Okay.
It's King of Tokyo.
Oh, well, that's fair.
Yeah, I mean it's
such
a simple. You've never played King of Tokyo?
I've never played King of Tokyo.
Holy crap!
Or King of New York for that matter.
Well, King of New York is. I use King of New York for the characters for King of Tokyo.
Oh, really?
Because it adds a little more. It's a little more convoluted.
Okay.
King of Tokyo, you can get a game done in 5-10 minutes, and it's super fun, super simple. Anybody can. I mean, my parents who hate board games love playing it because it's
Isn't it Yahtzee?
mechanic.
That's what I
Big
thought.
old chunky dice, and you know, there was one monster is in Tokyo, everybody else is outside. So when everybody else is rolling, any of the attacks go towards the monster in Tokyo. And whenever the monster in Tokyo takes damage, he can choose to stay there or switch spots with the person that dealt him damage.
Oh, okay.
But when it's the guy in Tokyo's turn and he rolls dice, that damage affects everybody.
Oh.
And you gain points the longer you're in Tokyo and stuff like that. And it's like, I can't remember I think you have to get to, it's a wild guess, I think it's 15 points to win. So it's either whoever gets the victory point threshold first wins, or if you're the last man standing.
Oh, okay.
And there's like on the dice, there's hearts that heal you. There's, the attacks, and there's like power points because you can get these little see-through, like translucent green cubes, which are like power, and then you can use those to buy stuff from the market that gives you special powers and stuff. And what's really cool is the power-up expansion that came out for it.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Because it personalizes your monsters.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that for like non-gamers right off the bat. Just play the game and go. But then after they played it a couple times, you can turn Godzilla into actual Godzilla. There's nothing that really separates them.
Okay.
Until you get.
So they're just rolling dice at the beginning, and
right. Your monsters are all the same until you start buying stuff on the market.
Okay.
But then if you have the power-up expansion, you actually have your powers.
Okay.
And stuff, and they have tons of monsters for them, promo monsters. They just came out with Cthulhu.
Ooh.
Beast that goes in and
maybe I'll have to buy that just for Cthulhu.
Yeah.
And always play him.
But yeah, it's a great game. I mean, it's
one of those games that like I should play because I've been in this hobby for a while. Like I remember I was in the hobby for about a year and I had never played Ticket to Ride, and one of my friends was like, "Are you kidding me?" And then we finally played it, and I was like, "All right." Like I never played it since then.
Yeah, I think Kat would like King of Tokyo.
She probably would.
It's just so easy.
Right. Alrighty, so number 8. My number 8 is probably going to be on, well, it may not actually. Escape Curse of the Temple.
No.
Not on your list, okay. Fine. Escape Curse of the Temple is, is a, probably the best time, like a real-time game out there. Well, no, that's not true. Generally the best real-time game. So what it is you are in a temple on a tile, and all you do is you have your handful of dice that you constantly roll on like the game will take 10 minutes, and that's it. Because either you're going to win, or at least 10 minutes. Because it comes with a CD. God, how old, it's 6 years old, that's why it came with a CD. I'm sure they do. I think they do, actually. But anyway, so 10 minutes or less, because if you win earlier, then obviously you win. But if you don't, if the timer runs out, then you lose. So you have your meeples on a tile. It's cooperative, which is also awesome. And you're rolling these dice, just trying to get certain symbols. You need 2 Running Man symbols to, explore further on. And you're trying to collect enough gems to be able to finally find the exit. And then everyone has to escape. And that's the premise of the game. This game is, I mean, if you don't like real time, because it's always high intensity and always high stress.
That's one reason why I haven't played it.
Right. It doesn't work for a lot of people because I don't know. My group loves it, and I think it's fun. Like 5-minute dungeon, we're like all adrenaline filled. Now it is one of those things because it's high stress. You can't really just keep playing over and over. Eventually, you're gonna be like, all right, we need to take a break because we keep losing or whatever. But with Escape Curse of the Temple, it's just, I think it was one of the first to take that concept and make it good. So it just really works for us. And then obviously they have expansions. They have like traps, which are tokens or tiles that you can run into, which means you have to draw a trap. And some of them are stupid. Like you always have to have your hand on your head, so you only have one dice while you're trying to roll. And you can, I think you can roll a certain amount to get rid of the curse, or people can help you. There's ones that if your die falls off the table, it's lost forever. But then they just have other like treasures and stuff like that just enhance the game, but still only keep it 10 minutes. So that's why it's my number 8. Yeah. Good game. It's a very good game.
I've watched it a couple times.
That's probably enough to just sit there and be like stressed with them, and you're like, all right, I'm good.
All right, my number 8, I don't think you like.
Yeah, it's probably garbage.
Is Seasons.
Yeah, it's garbage. Straight up shit.
This has been on a few of my lists before. It is a really cool. It's kind of a neat thing because the card play, you're drafting cards and stuff. The cards kind of have like a Magic the Gathering feel to them.
Did I ever tell you I only played that as 2 players?
Well, that's one other reason why it's probably just like
Champions of Midgard.
Yeah, Champions of Midgard. Gotta play it more. But anyway, and it has these really cool dice. There's green, yellow, red, and blue, depending on the season. So whatever season it is, somebody will roll the dice, and then you go through and you choose them. You know, and
why are the dice so big?
It's just part of the
because there's like 4 of them, and you're like.
But and then like so you get your resources or whatever from the dice, but then the dice that doesn't get picked at the end, that have these little dots in the bottom, and that'll be how far the time track moves around, because the seasons, you know, it's a circle thing turned into quarters. So like you know, fall, winter, spring, summer. But then depending on what season you're in, some things like water is not as much in summer as it is in the spring, you know, and stuff like that. So you have to use those resources to pay to play your cards, which give you victory points or give you special abilities plus victory points or whatever, because you're putting out
3 decks.
Spells and familiars are what you put out.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have to, when you draft at the very beginning of the game, you make three piles of cards. So the game goes 3 years. So in the first year, you start out with the first set, and you get to choose those 3 decks, what cards are in them. So you don't want to put really hard ones to complete in your opening hand, because you're going to be hosed if you do. So you want to try to put things that you can kind of get set up with the first time, and then once it goes into the second year, you automatically have the next part in your hand. Any cards you have left in your hand at the end of the game are negative points for you. So you need to try to get everything out of your hand by the end of the game. You can also sell your resources that you get. You can transmute them for victory points.
That's right.
So depending on what season it is, certain things are worth more, which is something I always do, because I always pile up on water. Like I'll fill my whole track with water, and then the very last, when you're in summer, that's when they're each one of those is worth 3 victory points, and I'll sell them off.
Just sell them all.
But then I also try to get these cards that make, whenever you transmute, you get 1 more for each. deal.
Okay.
So like I'll pile a ton of points in. My wife learned what I do though, and there's this one called the I can't remember what the card's called. It had a flying boot on it, which lets you advance the year 2 or go back 2, and she'll know what I'm getting ready to do, and she'll end the year real quick right before I get to do it. She's done that the last couple of times, but so I'm gonna have to come up with another plan. But no, it's a good one. Everybody loves it, and it has a couple of expansions out, and just adds more cards, and actually one of them added an extra dice too to do some different stuff. But
yeah, it like I said, I played it only as 2. But I don't know. I didn't like that deck constructed feeling, and you have to also do that 3 times.
Right.
So I was just like, I don't like doing this already, so I don't like doing it 3 times.
Right.
It didn't work for me. Okay, so number 7 is a game that I know is on like our list to play. So I know you haven't played it, and it's a game like no one's heard of, and I don't understand like what happened. But it's called The Cave.
Yeah, you've talked about it.
And I know I've mentioned it before. There's another game I think by the same designer called K2, or maybe they're just kind of similar, but anyway, in the cave, you're a speleologist, which all you're doing is cave exploring. That's it. Like, there's no interaction between, players, not direct anyway. And you're just trying to get the most points by exploring the cave the best. So what you'll do is you start out in camp with a gear set of food, rope, a raft, a camera, and stuff like that. And as you explore further on, like, you have a certain number of action, points you can spend. And at the beginning of every day, unless you're in camp, you have to eat. So you eat, and then you go and do your day. And like, you get points for everything you do. So there are like squeeze tunnels, which are like, in like the level 1, 2, and 3. So you spend 1 action to go through the first one, and then you take a token. And if there's a level 3, it's 3 actions to go through, but you get level 3, and each of these are worth a certain amount of points. Then they have, like wonders in the cave, which is what your camera's for. Then there's like rafts, so you can like go across like cave, like lake caves, cave lakes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. To be able to continue further on. But the stressful part, and actually the really cool part about this game, is that like the first person going, they can just go really in any direction, and you can follow them. And so all the things that because you have to spend an action to place a tile and stuff like that, you can like reap their benefits almost. They're like, and you can see like, oh shit, that's all squeeze tunnels. I don't want to spend actions, so you won't follow them. You'll go your own path. There's also drops, which you get points for because you lay rope down to descend, and the rope will stay there. So like you can follow them and spend their rope to go down. It's a very weird game that doesn't sound exciting in any way, but it's solid, and it's fun to just be like, at the end of the game, be like, haha, I got 50 points. And that's it. That's it. Very simple game, but I thoroughly enjoy it. Kat also thoroughly enjoys it. It actually comes with a soundtrack too, an MP3, which is kind of just echoing. Yeah, it's just for like 30 minutes. Just came up with nothing. It's like ambiance, like water drips and echoes. Okay, fair enough. That's my number 7.
All right, my number 7 is one that you've talked about not liking. I don't even know if you've played it.
What?
You've trash talked it before.
Oh, okay.
But you need to try it, and especially the later expansions.
Okay.
Because you're such a Cthulhu.
Oh, okay.
And it's Elder Sign.
Was that 2012?
Yeah.
Oh shit, that needs to go on my worst.
It is the it's the dice game.
I have played Elder Sign, by the way.
I couldn't remember if you had or not. Elder Sign uses the Yahtzee mechanic with the dice, and you're picking an investigator, and you start out in the museum, and the board, and all your stuff is in the museum in the core game.
And like the 10 expansions afterwards.
No, the next expansion, the second one.
Oh, it doesn't take you out of the museum.
Is still it adds more stuff and a couple dice for it.
Mm-hmm.
But then after that one, like the second expansion on, or at least the third expansion on, I can't remember, are all taking you out into the world, and they're very, very thematic. Like it's a total different game once you get those other expansions going, because one of them you're out in the ocean.
Oh,
so you're like on a ship, and you're out in the ocean dealing with the monsters of the deep.
That's cool.
There's another one you're in the Arctic.
Oh, okay. I've seen
the new one that just came out 2 weeks ago or so is in Egypt. It's the Pharaohs.
Oh, I see.
So like you actually are in that part of the world now. So a lot of people's complaints was, oh, you're just in the museum the whole time.
Yeah.
But ever since they've started coming out with the ones that are very, very thematic, and you're in that world, it feels like you're in those worlds when you're doing stuff. So, so I would say you've played it, but you need to try it with those.
Try it with the other
one of those other expansions, just to see what it's like. Because you actually are moving through stuff. Like I don't know how to explain it. It's just
right.
It's
like okay.
It's almost kind of like a mix between, and this is gonna sound not right. It's kind of like a mix between Elder Sign and Time Stories almost.
Oh, okay.
In a way that you're putting story in with it, and your actions move along the story and stuff like that. So now if they can just come out with a stupid organizer for it, because there's no way to fit this one of those
Right.
small boxes, and I have so much crap now that
I don't know why they did that. Like, I was actually just complaining about that the other day whenever, with 5 Tribes, because they had a really good insert for the base game, and then it's like the expansion came out, and you're like, oh good, it's already useless.
Yeah,
So if you're going to plan expansions, build an insert, just save fucking
Right.
time,
yeah.
and build an insert for future
I
expansions.
got all mine in the core box with the one that the core box.
The insert,
in there.
did you?
Yeah,
I just took it out.
I mean, I don't know.
Oh,
how
but
I
you don't
got
have
it
the
in
new
there.
expansion,
Yeah,
do you? Oh, you do?
Yeah, I got
Yeah,
it.
I just threw that insert away.
I probably will buy the wooden one.
Do they have one?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
can't remember which company. It's Go 7 or
Right.
or
Anyway, Elder
whatever.
Sign.
Yes, but anyway, yes, Elder Sign is a really cool game. It's if you're a Cthulhu fan or Eldritch, horror.
Right,
or
like Lovecraft
stuff like that,
fans, which I
it's
am,
very
which is
good.
why it was just a huge flop.
Right, now you need to try the thematic
Right,
expansions. That'll
right.
resonate
Yep,
with you.
that's why it's on our list of games to play. Alrighty, so number 6 is a game I think is also on our list. I believe they just came out with a second edition, or it was on Kickstarter, I know. But it's called Darkest Night. So number 6, yep. Darkest Night is a game that is also kind of unlike anything else I've played, to where the heroes have already lost. Like, the theme is that the heroes already lost, and you're like a rebel group in like the monastery, trying to go around the board and fight off the blights that the necromancer has put into place, and then hopefully find these ancient relics that will allow you to kill him. But he only can be killed on a 7, so you roll a d6, so that means you need to have a relic, because that adds 1 to your die roll. Which means once you fight him, you have to roll a 6, which makes it a 7, which means you kill him. But he's constantly moving around, adding in these blights, and this is just the base game, that are just a pain in the ass to deal with. You don't have to really go deal with them, but you probably should. But what's really cool about this game is, unlike, let's say, like Talisman, for example, where there's a bunch of, characters, this one also has a bunch of characters, but they're unique characters as well, not just like a ranger. There is that, but they also have like a beguiler, or a alchemist, or like a wind weaver, or something, just these weird things. But each of these characters also has their own deck of abilities, and you have your starting abilities, which are unique to that character, and they make sense. So everyone already feels unique, and then later on you can like level up, or you can change out these. And I think you can only, it's been a while since I've played it, but you can either only ever have 3 abilities, or you can only ever have a max of 7. Like, you can't just have all your abilities out at once. But they're really cool, so you feel like part of a team. Like, it's like as you're going out dealing with these blights. But with this game, there's also the 4 expansions that they came out with. One just each of them added like 3 new heroes, as well as there's like these events that you have to go deal with that you get benefits if you complete, or they have a timer, so if they go out, then bad things happen.
Right.
So not only are you trying to defeat all these blights that come out and avoid the necromancer, you're trying to deal with these blights, but then there's also these quests that you can go on. So they just took this game, and it's a small game too. Unfortunately, it's made by Victory Point Games, I think is what it was called. So it's not the best quality. Like, the cardboard and stuff and cards feel okay,
Right.
but it was like on laser printed, so like whenever you get it, you have all this soot,
Yeah.
and you're just like, oh, it actually comes.
Games are like that.
Huh?
All their games come.
Yeah,
like that.
it's like, guys, have you not learned yet?
Yeah.
But at least they come with like a napkin that you can at least wipe them down before. It doesn't help. The napkin's like this thin tissue. You're just like, oh, it's ripped. Okay, never mind. I'll just suck it up. We enjoy it quite a bit, and it's quite difficult. Now, it is like luck heavy a little bit. There is strategy in it, but to like go and, like, if you're trying to search for stuff, you can go to a spot, search, you roll a die, and you get that, and then you draw a card, and where you're at is what you get. But there's a bunch of different cards for searching. There's a bunch of different blights that all do something different. There's a bunch of, like I said, characters. It's really cool. Like, I was gonna get the second edition, but as I was looking it up, I was like, I don't need to get this unless it was gonna be higher quality, which it might have been since it went on Kickstarter. I didn't feel a need to. But yeah, that's my number 6. Darkest Night.
My 6 is one that's been on a lot of my lists. It's a small game.
Okay.
I've owned 3 copies. I've owned 3 copies of it.
Oh, Love Letter?
Yes. Love Letter is my number 6. It's just, it was the original micro game, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It was the one that kind of got that whole thing started. It kind of, I mean, it wasn't the first one, but it was the one that caught fire.
Good one.
And then like that whole deal of the 16 card decks started coming out like crazy. But it is, everybody should know pretty much what Love Letter is. I mean, you have cards numbered from 1 to 8, 8 being the princess. If you ever have to discard the princess, you're out. Last person standing gets a heart token.
Yep, they got their letter to the princess.
Yep. But you're playing stuff, you're trying to deduce what people are. So your turn pretty much consists of, because you'll have a card in hand. So you'll draw a card, play a card. Draw a card, play a card as it goes around. That's all it is. And you're just trying to get people to discard down. There's cards that say, you know, compare hands, the lower card is out. You know, so you can kind of learn from people's, you kind of can deduce what people have in their hand by that. And it usually goes, a 4-player game, I think you have to win 3, get 3 heart tokens, I think, in a 4-player game.
I know in the 3-player game you needed like 5 or 6.
Right, so, but I mean, we've played it so much. I'm on my 3rd copy of it right now because we've just wore the crap out of it. We take it on vacations all the time and just sit in hotel rooms and play it constantly. And
you know it's better than Love Letter?
Well,
Lovecraft Letter.
No, it's more, that one, it's fun, but it's more convoluted.
It is. It is very, very much so.
Because I've thought about buying, well, the predecessor to the Cthulhu one. They have the premium Love Letter.
Oh, yeah.
That was the same thing. It came with the big sleeves. It had 2 sets of cards for the different stuff. And it came in the same kind of box and everything. I thought about getting that, but then I was just like, you know what? We know what it's fun. We've done everything.
Right.
I bought the Hobbit one and the Batman
weird.
one, but they didn't fall as well, you know. What they did, what was cool though, I liked was, I can't remember which one. I think it's the Prince, or the number 5, is the one where you compare cards.
Oh, okay.
And stuff and see who has the highest or lowest. Well, in the Hobbit, there's 2 cards. One of them, if you play, I think it's if you play Legolas, maybe. I may be wrong. If you play him,
I remember him. Is his movie
then it's the highest one gets knocked out.
Okay.
And then if you play the girl one, the I can't think of her name. The girl.
Tamriel?
Yeah, or what? I can't. Yeah.
Oh, so it is movie Hobbit.
So yeah.
Okay.
So if you play that one, then it's the lowest numbers out. So. It adds a little bit more variety to it, but
is there a defy gravity card?
No, but the high number card was the Arkenstone.
The Arkenstone. Yeah.
So that was kind of like the princess.
Gotcha.
So, but there's tons of versions out there. The original one's perfectly fine.
It is, yeah. By far.
And it's just a wonderful quick game.
Yeah, I remember I went and bought that game. Like it was because it's super cheap too, and it comes in like a nice little cloth. Sack.
Mine's in a box. I got the boxed version.
Oh dear.
My first 2 versions were the sack.
But it's like $10.
One just to,
and we went. And I was like, all right, yeah, I'll just get this. It is a really good game. And Kat and I went out to eat, and we're just sitting there and we're just playing it while waiting on our food.
Just 16 cards.
Works pretty well as a 2-player game too. Although, like, thematically, it's pretty funny. It's like, because the theme is that whoever wins that round got their letter to the princess.
Right.
But it's like, because at the end, if the deck runs out, whoever has the highest wins. What if you have the princess? Is she writing letters? I'm just so great. I'm so sexy.
She's neurotic.
Looking in the mirror. I'm so perfect. And then while everyone's losing, you're just like writing hate letters. You fucking bitch.
Yeah.
I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
Then your letter gets to her. I love you so much.
But it's a classic, for sure.
Yeah, it is. All right. So, one number 5, I think this is where our, I know what your number 1 is. I was just looking at my list. This is probably where we're probably going to have four crossovers from this point on. My number 5 is Wiz War. So, Epic Spell Wars didn't make the list. Wiz War definitely did because it's a better game. And You don't think so?
It's good.
Oh, okay.
It's good, but for accessibility.
Oh, okay, that's
I
fair.
pick up Expellers
yeah,
first.
like if I was to pick one of the two.
If you're going to play gamer,
yeah.
Wiz War for sure.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I were to just look at them objectively, which you can't really do, but I'd pick Wiz War because it's just as whimsical as Epic Spell Wars, but there's a little bit more thought to it, and it just feels like you're more of a wizard, I guess.
Right.
So what it is you are in an arena trying to fight and, I guess, steal treasure from each other.
It's like capture the flag.
Yeah, it's like capture the flag. So everyone starts with the treasure in their starting spot, and you win by getting up to 2 points. You get a point if you run up, grab their treasure, and bring it back to your starting area. That's temporary because they can just run back and take it back. Or you get a permanent point if you kill someone. Or you also win if you're the last one standing. But that goes without saying. What's really cool about this one, though, is the game comes with so many tokens, so many cards and spells, that especially if you add there's 2 Maleficent Forces, I think is one of them, and the Beast.
Yeah, the Beast.
There are 2 big box expansions that just add, like your spell deck, if you combine it all, which is a variant, I think it's called Big Book of Spells, where you just combine all of them, and you just have this massive stack. I'm probably going to not play that way because it's just like, I mean, it's fun, but you have these just radically different spells. That one of them is just, you can destroy a hole in a wall, and then now you have a token for that. It's really cool because everything that you do almost has a token that comes. You're not just playing a card. Right. Like if you have an item, like that puts up a wall, there's a token for that. So you place that on there. So now you have to deal with that. And I know I've mentioned it before, but it's just one of the cool things about this game where like spells react like as you almost would expect them to, and we've mentioned it many times where lightning can ricochet off walls, and you can just, like if you can target someone in a corner, you can cast a spell, hit them, and it'll reverberate off the wall and just hit them every time, and you just disintegrate them if the damage works. But there's counter spells, there's summons, there's like the Beast expansion adds to where you can turn into creatures, and like it's really awesome because your main wizard miniature is on a peg, and you take that beast and you place that there, and that's who you are, and you have this own special ability with that, like the I don't know, it's almost like a gnome or whatever, and they can just move super fast, but I don't think they can pick up treasure. Right. So you can do that, then just cancel the spell. And then they also have just energy cards, which you can use to boost your movement or like boost damage, or each spell almost has a timer on it if it lasts, but you can play an energy card with it, so now it lasts a long time. I don't know, it doesn't get played a whole lot, probably for that same reason that it's like, okay guys, let's play this game. Here are the 7 different types of spells. Here's all the tokens.
Right, it just looks more intimidating.
Yeah, than it really is.
Right.
But ultimately, it's like you have a hand of spells,
right,
and you're like, I'm going to do this one. And it's like, oh, look at that, I'm dead. And one of my favorite stories to tell is that one time, because they have portals to make the map, so it's not just a map you can run through portals to shortcut, is that she was about to win. She was about to get the second treasure to her spot, and I shot a spell through the portal, hit her and kill her. And she was mad. Super funny.
Yes.
That's my number 5, Wiz War.
My number 5 is
also Wiz War. No, I don't know.
No, I haven't played it as much to
Gotcha.
really get it on there. My number 5 is one I believe it was one in my top 10 games of all time. It is Spartacus, Game of Blood and Treachery.
Yep.
That you still need to play.
Yep, I do. I do. My friends are watching that show, and I'm like, why?
Yeah.
It's so bad.
It's for all the TNA, man.
That's it, yeah.
But anyway, the game itself, though, is, I mean, it's pure Ameritrash. There's nothing. It's all dice based. You're chucking fistfuls of dice, and it's all you can ally with people and then break. Anything is up for sale. Yeah. You can be like, there's no rules for negotiations. You can throughout the entire game. So like there's different phases, you know, like there's the market phase, so that's where you can buy like your gladiators or your slaves or your weapons, different stuff like that. There's like a phase where you're interacting with other people. You may be wanting to trade stuff, or you can try to steal some of their intrigue, because I think intrigue is that's the victory point. That's the winning point.
Oh, okay.
Like you get to choose. There's like short, medium,
Oh,
long
okay.
game. So let's say your 10 is what you're going to. Once somebody gets to 10, they have to keep 10 until the end of the gladiatorial
gotcha.
combat. So it kind of has that same,
That like,
you know,
that initial feel. where
yeah,
it's
like
everyone
okay,
can see
he's
you're
sitting
about to
right
win.
there, so
Yeah.
everybody's gonna go and try to fuck you up, you know, and but what's really cool about it is like there's auction. I mean, it's all auction based too. So you have your money. It's the good kind of auction, so you don't lose your money if
you pay it.
If you get pay, you know, it's not like Revolution. But so you go through, and then once you get to the phase right before the big gladiatorial combat, you are all trying to auction off or bid to become the dominus, the person putting on the show. If you win that, you gain an you gain a deal, and then you have the power. You get to pick who is going to be battling.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And
I don't think
then,
you told me that.
And then, so if you're playing a 4-player game, if 3-player game, it's not going to matter, because
Right.
you could even put your own people in there.
I'd like to fight.
Like if you had a badass gladiator, you might put yourself in there too, just to, because you know you're going to kick their ass and you get points for
Gotcha.
winning too.
Okay.
So you just have to play the
field.
play the field a little bit. And what's really cool about it though is like there's corners around the arena, and anybody that's participating or not participating can gamble on who's going to win. So like you can gamble that there's going to be that this person's going to win. You can gamble there's going to be a decapitation. You can gamble that there's going to be so like you just
Right.
and it's like 5-to-1 odds or
they actually do have
it's
odds?
actually, yeah, you actually gain money, like you can get a shit ton of money from it. So the dominus has to be looking like, do I want it? Because if it comes down to, I mean, there's the whole thumb up, thumb down from the dominus. He can choose this guy to be dead and out of the game, or he can stay alive. So you have to kind of wheel that around too. And when they're battling, it's cool because it's hex based battle in there. And so if you have weapons and stuff, it kind of keeps it. But you roll all these dice. There's red, black, and white dice.
Okay.
And if you lose, like a roll-off, a battle, an attack, you actually lose. Like if they get 4 hits and you only block 3 of them, you have to lose a dice out of your pool.
Okay.
And then you keep battling, moving around and battling until you're down to. And if you ever take more damage than you have dice, then you're dead technically, or that's when the dominus does his thing. And this game has caused more stories than anything. Like there's been so many times where it's come down to the very end because of that thing where the person that has the 10 points and there's everybody standing up around the table rolling the dice, and it's just crazy. It's blast. But then you can also have bad experiences, just like with any game.
Right.
Because I was playing with 4 other people and I pulled the rug out from somebody in a negotiation pretty early, and then nobody trusted me the rest of the game, and it was the worst experience because I was just fucked the entire game. Like nobody would do anything with me.
Oh well,
yeah. Anything,
you trade them early on.
So yeah, it's just a blast. It's one of my favorite Ameritrash total games.
Yeah, it's just like that theme. Not the gladiator theme. It's just the Spartacus thing.
Well, and it shows it screenshots on the cards from the show.
Yeah.
But it's not really the show, I mean, it's.
Are there tits and ass in the game?
I
don't want to play.
No, there's language like the what do they call it? The text on the cards. Flavor text. They there's a lot they have.
Oh, gotcha. Has obscene language.
F-bombs.
Not safe for work.
It was one of the first games to come out that it had the mature rating 17+.
Oh, okay.
When it came out, so that was.
I mean, that makes sense.
Right.
Alrighty. So my number 4 is oh man, this game is just so cool. It's obviously it's on this list. A game I obviously didn't play back in 2012 because this is actually 2012 and 13 are the years prior because I started gaming in 14. I think. but it's called Pixel Tactics, which is actually surprising that it's so high up on this list. But one, it's set in a world that I really, really like, the BattleCon world, and it's also one of those games that is simple to actually well, it's not really simple to teach, but the rules are simple. Essentially, you draft a deck of cards that become your army. And you're on a grid, so you have a front guard, a center guard, and a rear guard. And in the middle of the center guard is your leader. And every single one of these cards has 5 uses, as well as, I think it's like 5 or 6 uses, as well as if you pick them to be your leader. So if you pick them to be your leader, they have their leader ability, and that's it. But whenever you're playing cards, where you place them up at the front, they have that ability. And each card has something on it. Then if you put them in the center, they have that center ability. And in the rear, they have that ability. On top, if you can have like traps, which are also on each card, as well as, just like abilities. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 6 if you count the leader ability for each card. And just the sheer amount of variety from this game is amazing, because you just have these people that are key elements in your guard trying to protect, because the point of the game is to kill the other person's leader. Once that happens, then you win. It can be played more than 2, but I mean, I think it's pretty much a 2-player game. But what they do is you're playing on this grid that they can only attack in front of them. So where placement is important, where you not in just where you put them on your 3x3, but where you want them to attack. Like there was one where I placed her, she got like, her attack was like 9, which is super high, so she was just a tank, just killing everyone that my friend put down. My leader ability once was I got to attack for free, and which was good, except his leader ability was that he can just swap people out from the top of his deck. He'd put them at the bottom and brought more people out, so every time I downed someone or did a lot of damage, it wasn't enough to kill them, he just swapped them out. So it was like, my leader's ability was good, just not for that one. And it's, I don't know, it's not as intuitive as like the other level 99 games out there, but it works. And I think it's unique as well, so that's why it's my number 4.
My number 4, I'm probably sniping your number 1 here.
You don't know that? I'm not even going to write down.
It's a Madigo game.
Uh-huh.
It's Kemet.
Oh my god. I was like, Madigo, huh? That would be...
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's not your number 1, but I know what your number 1 is, so...
You do, huh?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Kemet is...
an awful game.
Opinions vary. Kemet, in my opinion, of the 3 of that series, is the best.
God, it's just so not.
Well, I think a lot of it goes on because I think each game is good in its own way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, they are all different.
I think that's why it's so polarizing for different peoples, because it depends on what kind of gamer you are.
Right.
I think that's why,
They did do a good job with 3 different games that are kind of still in the same ilk.
I like Kemet because I hate, there's one in war games, obviously, I hate turtling. That drives me crazy. It doesn't matter what game I'm playing, I hate turtling, and you cannot turtle in Kemet. It's from the opening bell, man. You have to move and attack. That's the only way you're going to get points. It's the only way you're going to do anything.
Yeah.
So that is actually a game I used with my family. Because they were always so timid. This was the first conflict game I ever played with them, because we were always playing co-op. And then finally I was like, okay, we're gonna go balls to the wall. We're just gonna fuck shit up.
Where we hate each other.
But it worked. I mean, they play those kind of games now, and you're just constantly battling out. You have your really big D4 dice pyramids. If you have the expansion, you have another pyramid. You can choose different because there's 4 colors now: red, blue, green, or not red, blue, white, and then black. So you get to choose at the beginning if you're using an expansion which 3 pyramids you're going to use, because that'll decide what is out in the market.
Yeah, what abilities you want.
So you can get monsters, just different abilities. There's all kinds of stuff. I mean, and what's interesting about the battling is when you clash with people, if you have monsters, they do different stuff that can mess with battles. But then you have cards in your hand. I think it's 5 cards. I think you have, and you play it secretly, and then you know, so
real, yeah.
Right. It's just, I just like it because I think it forces people to be aggressive. Because there's so many games that I've played. We'll think, well, take Blood Rage.
Yeah.
You know, people can just go and turtle in an area and just sit there and unless people come after them.
Right.
You know, and
well, the Mystics expansion prevented that because you could just
right.
like pop one of their people
Right.
out and take it over.
So I mean, but games like that, I guess,
Yeah.
not necessarily that one in particular. It's like you're going to have some people that are going to be super aggressive, and there's going to be people that just kind of hold back. This
Right.
one, everybody has to go.
Right.
So
Rising Sun, you can turtle.
So it's like the battle royale. You know, it's, you know, you have to go after it, and you may be, a lot of the points you get are temporary points. So you may be really close to winning, but then if you lose control of this certain thing, you lose the control of
the
temporary
obelisks.
points. Right. So
yeah, that's right.
So
I guess
you know,
that's true. It does prevent that turtling mechanic because and any number of players too,
Right.
because in like 3-player games, for example, 2 people are most likely duking it out while one person's just like, hey, doing their kind of thing, and then you have to go out of your way to go. You're like, oh fuck, I forgot about you, and then you go deal with them. Now that person, if they want, can also just kind of stay out of it. Yeah, I mean that's a good
thing.
point.
Like the only way to get points in this game though is to win battles or
Right.
go and take over stuff. Like you don't gain anything from just sitting there
Right.
holding a place.
Right.
You know, and so you
Cyclades and Inish do the same thing.
Right, they do. It's just
Cyclades is also a pretty bad game.
Cyclades is more
kind of like
it's an auction based thing, and I want to try Cyclades with is it the
Titans, the necessary expansion to make the game.
Right, I heard that one does really cool.
Yeah, that one allows that one initiates combat more because in the original you had to get Ares, and if Ares wasn't available, you didn't do anything.
Right.
And so now with Titans, you don't need Ares; you can just move with them, and so it opens up combat a lot more.
Right.
And then with Inish, like it is more subtle. It's not, you do fight, but you also can move in and you can battle, but very few cards actually force it. You're kind of trying to almost like liege lord over them all, and you have to meet 3 objectives, two of 3 objectives.
And I don't like the king me aspect of Inish. That's why, you know, like it's kind of like saying Uno.
Oh.
And then everybody.
I love that.
You know, makes the
same
game
thing
drag
as
on.
Spartacus.
Yeah, but
hey, I have 10 points. Oh, now you're the target. Same thing. It's like, hey, I met these objectives, and then everyone's like, oh, we need to kill them.
It's more exciting.
It's not
Spartacus.
Oh, I'm sure.
You know, I mean.
Yeah, I'm sure it is more exciting, but it's also
control.
more.
This is just all
dice chucking, right?
Craziness. I mean, it's it is the same thing, but it's just kind of.
It's a different way of doing the same thing. Yeah.
Plus, I was trying to compare it to Commit because Commit was the first one of those 3 I played, and it's still
right.
But anyway, you know, Commit is the best one. Yeah.
It's not like I mean it's been a long time. I haven't played Commit since I started gaming, so it's been that long since I've even played it.
Right.
But all I remember, I played it as 2. Told that don't play it as 2. Then I played it as 4. Still didn't work.
Yeah.
I went in, you know, with an open mind again, and I was like, okay. But yeah, it still flopped.
That's another thing I like about that game is it has 2-sided boards. So like if you're playing with 2 to 4 players,
they all do,
side,
except for
3.
Inish, because it's a modular board.
Anyway.
All right, so my number 3 is a very, very, very solid co-op that still holds up to this day called Robinson Crusoe.
I haven't played that one.
Are you kidding me?
Never have. I've owned it twice, never played it because I
Wow.
couldn't get anybody to play it with me, and I never had a chance to play solo.
Robinson Crusoe is amazing. This is one of those best like survival aspect games that does everything right except the rule book. The rule book's so bad, but they just do the second edition that kind of upgrades it a little bit better and also makes a better rule book. And then Robinson Crusoe, if you don't know, is a co-op game where you are survivor, like you're stranded on an island. And you have a scenario to complete with objectives to be able to complete that scenario. I think the very first one is to build a bonfire. So you have to get a bunch of wood and then place them over into the bonfire. Once you do that enough, you win. You also have to, I think, create tools. Well, so the board is modular. Like there's one side which is all the tools you can build. Also has your like your weapon level, your roof level, and you're actually building a shelter while you're trying to survive, because that's going to help you against creatures and elements and weather and all that. And each scenario has different like weather, so it's like the first scenario, the first 5 rounds you're fine, then all of a sudden shit hits the fan and it's like storm after storm. So you have to be able to brave that. Otherwise, if you're out in the storm, you're going to die. If anyone dies, you lose. If you also have run out of rounds, you lose. So it does something really cool. They did this in First Martians as well, where your person is like these tokens, and you can split them up to do 3 different actions or multiple different actions. But the 3 main ones are explore, gather, and build. And so you can send 2 people to go do 2 of your tokens, or 1 of yours and 1 of someone else, to go do the action to automatically succeed. Or you can go by yourself to do more actions but run the risk of failing and hurting yourself. But you can still do more. I don't know, it is just something so clever, because with these 3 actions, the gather, build, and explore, is that if you automatically succeed, then you draw a card and if you automatically succeed, then you just do the action you want to do. So with Explorer, you just reveal a tile, and now that's there. If you build, you just build what you want to do. But if you go and send just 1 token, you roll a die, and you can have an adventure. What's really cool is there's a top half and the bottom half. The top half is what's happening, and you have a choice. Okay, hey, you found a crate of food. It's like, do you want to take it? And you get food, and it's like, oh, thank God, because you need food to eat. And if you don't get a certain type, it'll spoil. Anyway, so then it's like, okay, then put this into the event deck. So your event deck starts at like 5 to 10 cards, and it just gets bigger as the game goes on, because things will come back to haunt you. So it's like everything, it's like a double-edged sword. And then, so on top of that, you're still trying to survive. The game is very, very difficult, and I've won quite a bit, but I've also lost a lot more. It's just like, oh, shit, all right. That's that. Go ahead.
I heard something interesting just like a week or 2 ago on Dice Tower, that they're coming out with the app for Robinson Crusoe.
Oh, really?
To do like what they did with First Martians.
So
you have that at the deck.
Oh,
The
interesting.
deck's just going to have it on there too.
Huh. I don't know how I feel about that, because I did not like the app in First Martians.
Right. I don't think it's going to be a necessity. I think it's just something
if you want
to.
to. I think it'll streamline it a little bit better,
Right.
but ultimately with First Martians, you were just like,
Right.
okay,
Yeah,
that's that.
I think Z or C.
Yeah, and it was boring as hell, but that could have just been the fact that First Martians was boring as hell, versus Robinson Crusoe, where everything's exciting and you're like, oh my God. I don't know, there's so much to this game that makes it extremely thematic, and it's been on the top of my list for a while. Like, I don't remember, I think it's still in my top 10, because it's just a solid game. Kat doesn't really care for it because she really hates Robinson Crusoe, because I think she was like forced to read it in school. I was never forced to read it, so I'm just like, oh my God, it's very loose. Like, you're just survivors on an island.
Right.
That's it. But yeah, so that is my number 3, Robinson Crusoe.
My number 3 is going to be on your list. It's probably the next one. Is Smash Up.
Okay, I don't know what your number 1 is then.
Smash Up is...
That's what I thought would be your number
It's been
1.
on both of our, I think, top 100s.
Oh yeah.
Easily. So many damn factions out for this
Finally
game.
got my sheep expansion.
You finally did?
Yeah, I emailed them and I was like, I think I took your survey. Where's my faction?
Yeah.
They're like, we'll send you one.
Well, I was disappointed because I didn't get a chance to get the All-Stars
Yes.
deal, but they're actually releasing it.
Are they?
This year.
Oh, okay, cool.
Somebody said online on BGG that
That's
they were
good.
going to put it out again.
Well, I only won because I did the tournament at the game store.
So the only part I'm missing then technically is the All-Stars one, which wasn't actually a release.
And the
It was
playmat.
a price set. Yeah.
The awesome playmat.
I don't need a playmat.
Yes, you do.
But anyway, I don't even know what the number of factions are at this point, but there's just a crap ton of factions. You choose 2 of them, mash them together, and it's area control really. You have bases. They will pop once you hit the certain point level, and you're just trying to manipulate the areas and trying to make yourself first place, second place. You're moving people from one to another, taking some amount of the game. The people that are in charge of this game, the creators of this game, they got to be geniuses in a way, because they come up with a faction and they make the faction feel so much like that. The zombies, you're messing with your discard pile, constantly bringing stuff back from the dead, and
I don't think there's ever been a combination that has failed for me.
I've had a couple that weren't as good, but I think it was because I was playing against other people that had badass ones,
pretty good.
I haven't played all of them, obviously. I've played the game a ton, and I still haven't. I try to put zombies in my deal all the time because I love the zombie faction.
They're fun,
because they just constantly are.
And like when you're playing, you like come up with all these different ideas. Oh, what if zombies were with them?
Right.
Or like you can take. There's 55 factions by the way.
55.
56 technically because of the sheep.
Yeah.
But so like you could take one faction, let's just say zombies, and you have 55 other options to pair them with, which is a completely different deck.
Right.
55 different times.
Yeah. If you did the math problem on this, I don't know how many different combinations there are, but it's stupid.
Yeah, I don't even know.
1 times 2 times 3 times 4.
Oh yeah, yep.
It'd just go all the way up to 56.
Yep.
It'd be just stupid.
That is.
But
I'm curious now.
Homework later.
Right.
But
someone will do it. Hopefully.
It's just nuts. Like every faction is fun to play. Even if you're not into the little cutesy kittens,
right?
They're still fun to play because they throw the cute little kittens with the superheroes. You got superhero cute kittens, or whatever. It's just all kinds of.
What's the theme behind that? Do you know?
What, the cute kittens?
No, just the game in general.
I don't really know if there is a theme.
I thought there was like something. I always heard it was like some movie set.
Oh really? I don't know what the theme. I don't know if there really is. I think the theme is just in the decks of cards, and you're just battling for your home.
Or I remember they had like 2.6 or 2.5 e to the 34th. And I got to 31.
Right.
So just the sheer amount of variety.
But yeah, and it's just stupid fun.
Dude, I had Wood Elves from Munchkin, that's the only faction that I think, or the only expansion that is pretty shitty, because it adds like the treasure and it's like
right. Yeah.
And so I don't like that expansion.
I have it, but I don't really ever use it.
Yeah, like I actually pulled all those bases out. On top of that, the bases are unique,
right?
And throw the game for a loop.
Yeah, each faction has their own base.
And so, whenever you so I took those out, and I kept a few of the the factions in, because some of them rely on treasures, like the thief, but like others don't. I had wood elves and sharks, and I was like, once I got those, because I have the randomizer.
Yeah.
There's an app, by the way, to do that. I was like, and my friend, he had like mutant ants and like dragons, and I was like, okay, well I'm gonna lose, and the shark and wood elves was a badass combination.
Yeah,
so I'm just like, okay.
I can't remember this next expansion. It's Our Fault. Has like grannies and.
No, grannies are already out.
Oh, grannies. What's the one that's coming out this time? It has like old rock star. It had like Elvis.
Oh yeah.
Stuff like that.
Wait, no, that one's already out too.
Well, what's the one?
I don't know. See, there's so
look
many.
it up. Look it up. It's going to come out later here in a couple months.
Which they always add 4, so technically that's 60.
Yeah, I can't remember what they were now, but
I don't remember. Was that the one where they voted?
yeah, it
Or
was
we voted?
another
Vikings?
deal.
Vikings was one. That one. Anyway.
I'll look it up.
Yep. You can look it up whenever I talk about it for my number 2.
Yeah,
Smash
I'll look it up while you do that.
It's my number 2. You gotta hurry because we already talked about it so much. Smash Up like would be my number 1 if not for what my number 1 is about. But like I don't think I've ever played Smash Up. Here's the thing: there's not a lot of games out there that work best with an odd number, but Smash Up works best at 3 players. It only goes up to 4.
And I think it's because you're not picking on one person. You're all battling for a
That's
position.
true. Yeah, you're all just like,
So
okay, I'm
it's
gonna go
not
here.
like
And if
you're-
someone's like, if they're trying to go off on their own, then people will just be like, okay, like they have people that move. So it's like, oh, that base scored. Well, oh, I get to move some people. Then they'll just jump over, and you're like, leave me alone. Yeah, you're not really pick on one people. Everyone's trying to get the best points and fight for control, but then others may try to leave. And you play so many minions and actions. That's impossible to just focus. Like, you're really going out of your way to be a huge fucking asshole if you're just picking on one person the entire game. And I've never had that happen. Did you find it?
So there's that 70s expansion coming out this year.
Yeah, one of the expansions is the characters from that 70s show.
Yeah, this has truckers, vigilantes, disco dancers, and kung fu fighters.
Okay.
Is that one, and then there's the other one. There's going to be 2 coming out this year. The next one is Oops, You Did It Again.
Britney
which was
Spears.
a vote one. And it was Vikings, Cowboys, Samurai, and Egyptians.
Okay.
So those are 8 more factions coming out in 2018. So
God, that's
my big geeky game box is getting full. I sleeve them all.
Oh
so,
shit!
So my box is getting.
You may have to come up with another one. My bigger.
I have about half of a row. Still.
Yeah. If you didn't sleeve them, then you'd have more. Because I still have a lot of. I still have a whole row that is just filled with. I finally bagged all the tokens.
Right.
I used to just have them loose, and I'm like, what's wrong with me? Smash Up is amazing. Like we already talked about it. So what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Marvel Legendary.
I didn't even know they came out this year or this year in 2012.
Though, have you?
No, well, you brought it all over and you had to leave
Yeah.
because your stupid daughter's date that I hope went awful. Anyway, Marvel Legendary.
She's not with him anymore, so that's good.
But it didn't go well then.
But anyway, Marvel Legendary can almost kind of go with the same thing with Smash Up. There's so many damn heroes, so many damn villains. The combinations are.
I want to play it
endless.
just for that sheer vastness.
You choose 5 heroes out of, God, there's got to be 60 heroes now at least, and then you have to choose the main bad guy.
How many bad guys? How many
There's a
villains
shit ton
are
of
there?
main bad guys, and then each bad guy will have these. You choose a henchman group and then some villain groups that go with them, and some of them will say make sure this villain group. If you choose Magneto, then he has the mutants with them, and then you can choose the other couple of deals with them and stuff. But then you pick a scheme which is the theme of what you're playing for, and there's a stack of themes this much that has all different kinds of themes of different ways the game plays.
Gotcha.
So it's almost like 100 kind of games in one because each game plays different depending on what scheme you play. Some of them, they win if they get a bunch of people to escape the city. Some of them is if you have a bunch of people KO'd, heroes in the KO pile.
Okay.
And they lose. Again, they're geniuses because they come up with all kinds of crazy stuff. But,
Right.
And then I have everything for it currently, except for the brand new one, the Champions one that just came out. But there was a villains box that came out, which played just the opposite. So all the villains were actually, but you play them as the good guys.
Oh, yeah,
And then
yeah.
the masterminds, the bad guys, were like Professor X
Oh.
and Iron Man and stuff like that.
Saw a joke. It's like if Professor X can move things with his mind, why can't he move his legs?
That's true.
I was like, interesting. Anyway,
but then I cram all those in because you could technically have Magneto and Wolverine and all these different people fighting together to take on whatever. But it gets weird because there was the Secret Wars sets, which were based off. There was a weird timeline in the comic books where there's Thor riding a T-Rex.
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff like that. That's a hero. It's like they're riding a T-Rex.
It's
That's
like,
one of your heroes. I mean, so there's really strange
like
ones.
you guys are stretching now.
Yeah, but I mean, I still have it because it's just more combinations,
Right.
you know. And there's a app randomizer for that as well. So you type, you know, how many players are playing.
Now, do you just control one hero?
No, it's
you
choose what 5 heroes go. You shuffle all 5 of those heroes because each one has a deck. You shuffle all those together, and that's like a buy pile.
Okay.
And then there's a row on the play mat that you'll have 5 cards out, and then you buy them, and they go in your hand. And what's cool about it is you have your villain deck, so you shuffle all the henchmen, the groups, the villain groups, and all that stuff together, and then they'll pop out, starting like in the sewers, and then the next person's turn, they kind of just keep pushing away. And if you don't kill it before it escapes town, then they escape, and something bad happens. You have to KO something or whatever.
Yep.
And then some of them are stronger in certain parts of town, and it's a really neat deal, and it's another game I've sleeved everything on, and it's just enormous. There's thousands of cards. And
I have one game that everything's sleeved, and it's Arkham Horror.
I have 4 boxes for Marvel Legendary. I have the core box, I have the villains core box, and then 2 of the big box expansions. And it's just stupid how much stuff there is, but I love it because I love deck building stuff.
Right.
So it's good.
All right. Can you guess my number 1? Probably not.
Have I mentioned it?
No, you have not, actually.
2012.
I know, it's like trying... I thought for sure yours was Smash Up.
I know.
Okay. My number 1 is War of the Ring.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that was a 12.
Yep. At least it is on Board Game Geek, so if I'm wrong, then...
I believe it. I just didn't know enough to really...
War of the Ring is just... the reason why, obviously, it's number 1 is because it's Lord of the Rings. It is the best Lord of the Rings game out there, and I don't care anyone who says Battle of 5 Armies is better. It's not. First of all, it's The Hobbit, so it already can't be better than Lord of the Rings. And 2, there's just... I mean, Battle of 5 Armies is fine. It has that same Kemet feel where it's just combat the entire time, which I don't always just want to do that. Where with War of the Ring, you have, yes, there's combat, but it's very strategic and smart combat, especially if you're the Free Peoples, because you don't want to just send people to just run into Mordor, because you're going to lose, and then you're going to have all those people, and then all the Shadow people have to do is just run in and just take Gondor, and then that's that. Essentially, War of the Ring is Lord of the Rings in a box, just like Star Wars Rebellion is Star Wars in a box, and it kind of follows that same what-if feeling, to where it's like, okay, what if Legolas left the party and go help the elves and rallied them up to come fight? So now, because the game starts with a political track, which a lot of people don't like, I do like it because it's interesting. It's thematic and it makes sense. No one wants to go to war, so you have to ignite that spark and get them ready to help out. So if Legolas goes, he can actually ready the elven people, because if they're not ready, they actually can't cross borders. So you can actually be like, okay, have Legolas go since he's elvish, ready the elves and move them down to the out-war track, to now you can actually move them down and the elves can go to Gondor and help fight. And it's like, that didn't happen, what if it did? Or what if the Easterlings and all them went and attacked Rohan? What if, and then the expansions just add so much more. The newest one, I think it's Warriors of Middle-earth, adds the Ents for the Free People, adds the Eagles, and adds the Ghosts. Too, it's like, okay, what if the Ghosts actually went to Mordor? like they should have. What if the Eagles helped out in just areas? And like they're still very loosely tied in. Like you can't just have an army of Ents. They're still restricted to where they can be and what kind of, well, the Ents are anyway. And they have certain action cards. Then the Lords of Middle-earth, the expansion before that, added actual characters, and so they weren't just cards, but like Elrond, the Balrog, Galadriel, all these people were actually characters that you could then use, instead of just like, there were some cards in the base game where it's just like, help from Elrond or something, like, or like the Balrog,
right?
Where it's just like, if they go through Mordor, then you can play that. But now it's like, what if the Balrog left Mordor and helped in the war? So it just, all this just, it's so good.
I owned it. But I just never like nobody in the house is Lord of the Rings at all.
You need a divorce and new
I know.
kids.
I've been trying to get my daughter into reading the books and stuff, but
the books are good.
the books what got me into the
Really?
stuff back in the day.
I obviously whenever I watched the movies because I was
Right.
like, oh man, 8. Came out in 2001, so 17 years ago. So I was 8. I was 8 years old. When it
2001,
came,
I was 5
you were
years
like
out of high
40.
school.
You were like 40 when it came out.
No, I'm 40 like this month.
But so it was awesome then, and I've read the first 2. I've never. I want to go back and read them because I read them also when I was younger. I was able to grasp and comprehend what I was reading, but I think now that I'm older, it'd mean more.
Well, when you read The Return of the King, don't read the last like 30 pages.
Really?
It's stupid.
This is stupid.
They go back to the Shire and do more stuff.
Oh, more songs.
It's like-
You're just like.
Well, no stuff. I mean,
Anyway,
that's another.
But here's something else that's really cool that even puts War of the Ring way higher. That's probably gonna that's also in my top 10. Hunt for the Ring, which came out this year, is so War of the Ring starts at the Shires at Rivendell, and the whole point. Also, on top of the combat and everything that or that will happen, you also have as the free people the Shire, which is kind of hidden movement. To where they can try and get to Mordor, or they can get corrupted, and if they get corrupted, then the Shadow people win. But they can also sneak and get to the Mount Doom, and then they do the Mount Doom stuff, where they just run up and they try and, as they're dealing with corruption, as it gets tougher and tougher, if they make it, they throw the ring in and they win. That's 2 paths to victory for each side. One of my favorite things about this game, and it's another thing I really like, is, because I like luck. I like randomness. It's just, even in a strategy game like this, there's luck in the die rolls. But for your actions are dice. So you have a certain number of dice you roll, and your symbol tells you what you can do. I like being randomly presented with something and figuring out what to do with that. Unlike whenever I say I rag on Memoir 44, where the luck is your draw and the luck is your roll, where it's like, okay, I don't feel like I have any choice in what I'm doing here. War of the Ring does not feel that way. But Hunt for the Ring is actually from the very beginning, where there's 2 parts. Part 1 is it's hidden movement the entire time, where the Nazgul are trying to hunt not the Fellowship, but Frodo, Merry, Sam, and Pippin. They're trying to get to Bree. That's the first part.
Gotcha.
Then the second part does something completely different, where the person who's hiding plays Gandalf, and he's trying to ward the Nazgul away and also protect Frodo, who is now with Aragorn. But that group is now on a set path. It's a card. They're like, okay, if you want to play the short route, they're going to go to 1, then 4, then 8, then this spot, and you have to kind of deter the Nazgul away with Gandalf. It's very weird, but it works. Then you can actually, how you do by the end of that game in Hunt for the Ring, you can actually attribute it to how you start War of the Ring.
Oh, okay.
It's so cool, and it's very minor. It's not like, oh, if you're corrupted, you automatically lose. It's like, oh, I'm not playing War of the Ring. But it's like certain tokens you can take from Hunt for the Ring and implement into War of the Ring. I just think that's really neat. Very subtle, but also thematic, to where you can have the full Lord of the Rings experience and just have a heart-on the entire time. So that's why it's my number 1, War of the Ring.
All right, my number 1
is Mice and Mystic.
No.
I have no idea.
Right.
Wait, hold on. Zombie side. Nope. Okay, I got nothing.
It's the greatest game of all time.
Oh, it's Talisman.
No.
Actually, when did
Android Netrunner came out in 2012.
Did it really?
Yes, it does. So Android Netrunner, I got into it in 2012 when it came out at Gen Con, and I've been preaching the word of
the gospel of Netrunner
for ever since. It's my favorite LCG Fantasy Flight LCG cycle. It's a asynchronous gameplay. Every time you play, you are either the runner or the court, but you will in a match you'll play both sides. So every match you come up to, you'll have a court deck and a runner deck. When you're the runner, you're trying to steal agendas from the corporation to you need to get 7 points to win, or deck the corp That's the other way you can win, where they can't do their mandatory draw at the beginning of the turn. The corp is trying to advance and score their agendas before they're stolen or kill the runner. So that's your your two deals. So you have action points each turn to do different stuff. It's very interactive because you're setting up. It's a very I don't know what the word is. There's almost like lanes because you set up servers when you're the corp. So you have these servers. When I teach the game, I actually cut yarn. And actually I'll make the lanes.
Oh, really?
Just because it's more visual for new people to be like, I'm going to run this one.
Gotcha.
You know, because this is R&D, this is HQ, this is your archives, you know, or if you have other servers out. Because if you just see cards kind of laid out, it's like, it's not as visual, and, you know. And there's just so much stuff with it. And about 6 months ago, I want to say, they just did a rotation. So it got rid of the first 2 entire cycles of it, and then they came out with a new core set. So now is the time to really get back into it. If you were ever interested in it and were kind of intimidated with the card pool, now would be a good time to get into it. It's still going strong around the country. In this area, it's not.
Right.
I think I'm the last remaining player in this area since John left.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get it built back up. Right now, I mean, you can play a port of it online, you know, and stuff. That's where I get most of mine. I play a few hundred games a week online and stuff like that. So a game, when you play both ways, it generally takes about an hour to do both ways. At least that's how it is in tournament format.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's a wonderful game. It's a remake of an 80s CCG game.
I didn't know that.
That Richard Garfield made.
Magic?
Yeah.
Magic guy?
So it was like, you know, you could still find the packs of cards, you know, and stuff.
Wow.
People sell them and stuff and everything. But then Fantasy Flight got it, put it in their living card game model, and it worked out a lot better.
Yeah. I've only played it once with you.
Yep.
I got destroyed. But it was still fun. Like, I knew I was going to lose going in, so I wasn't like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
No, it is very fun. And yeah, if I were to like get into it, now would be the time because they just did that recycle. Because there's no way in hell I was going to pick it up.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You know, before that, because there's the sheer vastness of stuff. And I mean, honestly, it's like one of those things where it's almost a lifestyle. Like, you either do that a lot, or you do. For me, I just do board games a lot, and especially because I run the channel. That takes up a lot of time, so I have like no time to get into a living card game, and except like Arkham Horror, but that's because it's co-op, and I'm just you play together. I'm not trying to build a deck to compete against someone, and then also, but it is a lot of fun. I didn't play as the corporation. I just played as the runner. Tried my theory of just run all the time. It doesn't work. Just so you know.
you were playing against a tournament ready deck though.
Oh, cool.
So, I mean,
cool.
So it wasn't.
Oh, and I had some scrub deck that you just
grab cards. But I mean, if you don't know what you're doing against a competitive level deck, it's kind of hard.
So it may work. Just run all the time.
If I had a jank deck build up, then it might work. You just never know.
If I was a scrub like most people.
It's a great game, and I'll continue to play it as long as they keep making it.
Gotcha. Alrighty, so that is our games of 2012. Let us know what your games of 2012, 6 years ago at this point in time, are in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you want to support us, you can go ahead and click that link to go to my Patreon account. If you have any suggestions, you can go ahead and click the link in the show notes below to go to my Board Game Geek list. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.